Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana, and I'm doing another episode to just kind of recap the last month plus of my YouTube polls. So I put out these YouTube polls where basically I just ask questions on topic of interest in that concern the NBA or the hobby or fantasy basketball or whatever the case may be. It's always basketball related. I usually do about one a week. Sometimes I think I've done two in 1 week, but usually it's one a week. And so I like to go back and revisit and look at the answers that the viewers and subscribers provided and some of the comments that they put down below, and just kind of talk through this because on this episode you're going to see shame on you, people that watch my channel, people that are subscribed. Your answers are not good, and I'll be the first one to admit I shared some of your answers, but we missed on a lot of these answers. So without any delay, let's get cranking. I'm going to do screen share real quick, and we'll start with the oldest question first, which was way back when, if you can remember, back during the Vegas Mint, for all of you collectors out there, Beckett decided that they were going to change their grading scale, and then they decided they were going to change the way they were going to change their grading scale overnight because of negative feedback. And then they decided they weren't going to change their grading scale at all because of the overwhelmingly, uproariously vehement disagreement with their decision. And so I think Beckett probably made a mistake. They should have sent some polls out like I do on my channel and asked the hobby what they thought, and maybe solicited some ideas from some of the more savvy people that have been collecting for decades, and then made a decision from there. But once again, Beckett foot in mouth, just like back at the Atlantic City National, they were going to change their label, and they changed their mind on that. And so this first question was simple. It was after Beckett had said, we're going to change, and this is what it's going to be. And then they're like, wait, we were just kidding. It's not going to be that. It's going to be this. And then they changed to where all the minimum gems were not even going to be called Gem Mint. They're going to be called Mint Plus or something weird or something like that, right? And so they were going to round up BGS 9.5s to 10s and round down BGS 9.5s. And then there was chaos because nobody knew what was true and what was rumor. At some point, within a maybe 48-hour delay from all these weird, strange, uncertain announcements, they said, you know what, we're going to pause. We're just going to pause. They didn't say we're not going to change it. They said we're going to pause for now and get some more feedback. And you can see back that was on April 1st, so over a month ago for sure. Was this a good decision or a bad decision to pause and not go through with the changes? This came out almost exactly as I expected. Over half the people said it was a good decision to pause it because they did not like the changes, because it was complete hobby upheaval. I mean, a lot of the most important cards in the hobby, like it or not, PSA Simps, are in BGS slabs. Some of the biggest cards that have ever been sold in the history of the world are in SGC and BGS. And so for BGS to change their grading scale after having been around since I was a little kid, collecting would have been, I think, a bad idea without getting putting a little more market research into the ramifications of those changes, and especially the effect it would have on the value of some of our collections, myself included, many of you guys that watch my channel. 32% said, I don't care because I don't grade with BGS or collect BGS slabs. That was expected. I figured about 25% to maybe a third of the hobby doesn't give a shit about BGS because they're young. BGS means nothing to them because it never meant anything to them, and they don't know any other hobby where PSA wasn't on top. PSA wasn't the top dog. A lot of the people, and I'm jealous because you're younger than me, and if you don't remember when BGS was on top and you weren't in the hobby then you're a lot younger than me. But as recently as the early 2000s, BGS was top dog, and it was not close. People were crossing PSA 10 86 Fleer Jordans hoping to get BGS 9.5s. How silly does that sound today? It sounds like nonsense, but look at the rest of the world and look at how much stuff that we know to be not true is now true today, or stuff that was unacceptable in the early 2000s is now somehow acceptable through indifference or otherwise. But 55% of the people said good decision to pause it. I agree. Good decision to pause it. I'm glad they didn't change it. Let's talk some more about it and see what's going on. I haven't heard another peep about it. Next question, next poll, 4 weeks ago. Which established, meaning already bona fide superstar, playoff hopeful, this was before the playoffs started, would be the best investment for all things considered? I'd have a nice typo in there. Price point, team potential, existing resume, playoff matchups, past success. Which would you invest in if you had to dump 10 grand into a player? I can only use 5 choices, so I apologize to the Dylan Brooks collectors or the John Morant people out there, or whoever the hell else is going to freak out. Curry's not even on the list. I had to choose 5. These guys were all really high hot at the time. Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid were the MVP candidates, and then Tatum, the Celtics were running red hot, and so he was like the up-and-coming sure thing because people thought the Celtics and Bucks were on a collision course. Wow, have things changed? And then I had Durant because he had been traded to the Suns, and we knew Durant was going to team up with Booker to form a super team and a big four, which ended up being a big two. Really shockingly, a big two, only two. But Giannis got the majority of the votes. And what's funny is since 4 weeks ago when I put this poll out and everybody said Giannis, 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 his cards have gone down into the tank. Now, part of the reason is he did get injured and the Bucks did get ousted by the Jimmy Butler-led Miami Heat. But Giannis was overwhelming, number one. Tatum was the closest thing, and I think that all of this has a lot to do with expected team success. Durant was 19%, Embiid was only 8%, and Embiid's had a pretty good playoffs, and Jokic was only 10%, and Jokic has had an otherworldly playoff, exceeded only probably by Butler and Booker. I think Butler, Booker, Jokic, unless I'm forgetting somebody, those three have been the class of the playoffs thus far, and Jokic is just doing everything he possibly can to will his Nuggets past the Phoenix Suns. So this was an interesting result. 161 votes on this, and Giannis was the clear-cut favorite. Between Giannis and Tatum, that was 2/3 of the votes, and so the other guys didn't get much. 4 weeks ago, again, 192 votes, so even more votes. Which of these guys is the best long-term investment this offseason? None of these guys are, Michael Porter Jr. is in the playoffs, but he's not a relevant piece, and he's not really having a very good playoffs. Very unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get from MPJ. He could go 5 for 7 from 3, or he could take 9 really dumb-looking contested mid-range fadeaways and mid-range, and contested threes. Doesn't play any defense, doesn't really have put forth a lot of effort, but is crazy, crazy talented and has one of the most beautiful jumpers in the NBA. But all the other guys are not in the playoffs. So we got Cade Cunningham, Zion, LaMelo, Porter, and Holmgren. LaMelo, Porter, and Holmgren all what and what, right? They all got around 13 to 15% of the votes, so no surprise there. Zion, people are still on the Zion bandwagon. They still believe a healthy Zion's going to come back next year. The Pelicans are going to be immediately relevant. And I'll say this, if a healthy Zion comes back and Zion plays 65, 70 games, the Pelicans are absolutely going to be a top 4 team in the West. There is no question about that. They have a really good, deep rotation around them. They ran into some serious injury issues this year. Ingram out for a really long time. Zion out for a really long time. Alvarado out at the end of the season. Just guys in and out of the lineup. They probably do need a true point guard. Which they don't have, but Ingram kind of runs that point forward position. CJ McCollum is really not your point guard, especially not at this age. He's sort of a secondary ball handler, combo guard type. But Cade Cunningham, the overwhelming favorite, almost twice as many as Zion, and I like that. I do. I really think Cade Cunningham is a good player. He was the undisputed number one. In his class, the most hyped rookie, anything and everything that everybody wanted, big size, strong guard, lead guard, improved measurably the second half of his rookie year, and then came back, and I will say this, in the beginning of this past season before he got hurt, he didn't look right physically. Everybody was like, he's big and muscular, and he looks amazing. Well, he was big, but he didn't look muscular or amazing. He looked heavy and slow to me, and his percentages were paltry and disastrous and a huge step backwards. Again, teeny tiny sample size. So we got to assume Cade Cunningham would have figured it out and started clicking at some point. But as it turns out, the Detroit Pistons ended up completely tanking on the season, rightfully so. Jaden Ivey ended up progressing, flourishing. Jalen Duren's going to be a pretty good player there. They're going to have a pretty good chance to get Victor Wembanyama. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Houston and Detroit, whichever one of those teams, and it could be San Antonio, but San Antonio I don't think has enough around Wemby. But if Houston or Detroit gets Wembanyama, they're immediately a very, very, very talented basketball team. And the same can be said for Portland. Don't sleep on Portland. Portland's got, I think, about a 10% chance. I think they have 2 picks combined that gives them about a 10% chance at Wembanyama. If somehow Portland can snake Wembanyama, I don't know what that means for Lillard. I don't know. I guess he would probably have to wait and see just how legit Wembanyama is and how immediately effective Wembanyama is. But, Anthony Simons, Damian Lillard, Jeremy Grant at the 4, Shadon Sharp at the 3, and Wembanyama playing the 5 on defense but not really on offense. That's I mean, you can call it small ball, but you got a 7'4" guy on the floor. So that is a pretty interesting starting five. And I know Blazers fans would be very happy to run it up the flagpole and see how it works out. 3 weeks ago, which team is in the most trouble in round one? This was, I put the records in there, so 187 votes. At the time, the Bucks were down 0-1. Nobody was worried, right? Giannis was hurt, and everybody saw him get hurt, but nobody was worried. The Phoenix Suns were down 0-1. Nobody was worried, and rightfully so. Golden State was down 0-2, and everybody thought they were dead in the water. Well, Golden State's still playing the Lakers, and I could probably post another poll, who's in the most trouble right now. And it would be between the Knicks and the Warriors, and we could throw the other teams in there as well. But the Warriors buried their way, dug their way out of that hole, and now they're really going to have to dig their way out of a hole against a much bigger, stronger, younger, more athletic Lakers team. And yeah, I say younger because generally speaking, the average guys on the floor for the Lakers are young and spry. And I'm including Anthony Davis in there because he's spry and he's athletic and he's mobile and he's a freaking problem on defense. I get LeBron's old, but all those dudes running around him are not old. Those guys are in their prime or pre-prime. And the Warriors look old and small to me. They just look old and small and short. I don't know what else to say. So this was interesting. Nobody was worried about the Bucks, and the Bucks got ousted by the shitty-ass Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler's, heroics as usual. Build your franchise with one of these 5 players, with the goal being championships, plural. You want to just win. It's all about winning. It's not about marketing or any of that crap. You want to win. You get them for the next 5 years only. You have a 5-year window. Jokic, Antetokounmpo, Wembanyama, Tatum, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant gets the fewest votes, less than Wembanyama. Some people would rather Wembanyama for the next 5 years than Durant. Interesting. Giannis far and away number 1. Jokic and Tatum, about what and what. A couple votes separated those two. But again, Giannis the overwhelming favorite. That's interesting. I wonder how this poll would turn out if I sent it right now after Giannis missed 13 free throws and had 7 turnovers and almost gave the ball away to lose the game, and they got ousted by the Heat. Again, Giannis was injured for 2 games, but it's no excuse because he came back for 2 games and it looked 100% to me, and they still couldn't beat the stupid-ass Heat. If you owned a Raw National Treasures 99 RPA, where would you send your card to be graded? This did surprise me because I think if I asked this question in 2020, I think BGS would have gotten more votes than PSA. 207 people voted on this poll. This poll resonates. People care about this poll. SGC got 7. CSG Tag and all the other alphabet graders got 2%. Keep It Raw got 10%. I thought Keep It Raw might get 20%, but maybe some of the viewers on my channel are a little bit younger than I thought, despite the fact that my YouTube demographic says that that most of them are men around my age, probably 35 to 60, I think, or 35 to 55, something like that, is most of the people that watch the channel. But young folks don't like to keep it raw, as they say, and keep the cards in their original condition. They like to get it graded. I'm one of those people too, and I'm old, so. PSA won by a good measure here, which really surprised me because the kind of overriding premise of the hobby was if you've got a shiny chromium card, you send it to PSA. If you've got a thick card, BGS is easier on those cards because you got the other subgrades to pull up the corners, right? That's basically what the deal is if your corners get, a 9, if you can get a 9 on corners, your centering, your surface, and your edges can pull those corners up. And that's the issue with those thick cards is it's hard to preserve those 8 corners, right? It's not really 4 corners on thick cards. It's really more like 8 corners because the cards are so thick, it's almost like you got a top and a bottom corner on each corner, and 4 times 2 is 8, even in Louisiana. So I was surprised by this. Let me know in the comments. Are you surprised by this? I mean, this is really shocking to me. Let's look at some of the comments on here. PSA will definitely give everyone the 8s they want. Okay, fair. If I owned one 100% BGS with subgrades and auto grade. If he owned one, he would definitely send to BGS with subgrades and auto grade. Tough call. We all know the corners will be like 8. Yeah, that is tough. Selling it PSA, keeping it BGS. Okay, so that's interesting, right? And that's something that I just couldn't put in a YouTube poll with if this, then this, if that, then that. But if he was selling it and he wanted to recoup his money, he would put it in a PSA slab. And I've heard this from many people in the past. But if he wants to keep it for his PC, he puts it in a BGS slab. That's interesting right there. So that's it, guys. That's it. Just a quick little video. Just want to talk to some of the YouTube poll results. I'll keep putting these polls polls up. I probably try to do 2 a week, maybe Mondays and Wednesdays, Mondays and Thursdays, something like that. Just stuff. I don't talk very often about current events in the hobby and what's going on. Now I definitely don't get into hobby drama and crap like that. But these YouTube poll results are interesting and fun to talk about, and it gives me something to do. Every 4 weeks, it's another piece of content that I can put out there. Let me know what you think about these poll questions and the results, and how interesting it is when you take a time machine and go back and look at what we thought about Giannis and what we thought about the Bucks and whether the Warriors were in trouble and things like that. And it's also interesting to solicit information and feedback from people about the best prospects and the best superstars going forward. I think these are interesting type poll questions. I'll try to think of some more good ones. If you've got some really good ones that you want me to put on a future poll, shoot me a comment below on this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're watching and you like it and you've watched 15 minutes of me, then I must be tolerated. I must be tolerable in your mind. And so hit the subscribe button. I've got some great stuff out there that I think you guys will like. I'm on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Google podcast platforms. Hit the bell icon for notifications. Hit the like button on my videos because it actually helps me with the YouTube algorithm. I don't use YouTube ads to get paid money, so you'll never see ads in the middle of my videos. And I think for that reason, I think YouTube's not pushing my content out. Somebody comment below who knows a lot more about all this algorithm and analytics and crap. I think YouTube's not pushing my stuff out there simply because I haven't monetized on YouTube. Like, I don't get paid to do this by anybody. Sponsorships, partnerships, and certainly not YouTube, because I don't want a bunch of old dudes and gals in old-fashioned bathtubs holding hands, taking dick drugs, Cialis and Viagra and crap like that, or whatever those commercials are about. I don't want tampon commercials in the middle of your hobby content videos that you're watching on the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel. I like to control my content. You know what I'm saying? I guess I'm old school like that. And I think for that reason, because I haven't monetized and I don't put ads on my shit, I don't think YouTube's pushing me out. I'll be quite honest with you. So I think it's kind of holding back my subscribership and the growth of my channel. I don't know, though. Let me know in the comments if I'm nuts on that. Maybe that's a conspiracy theory. Maybe I'm just too old to understand how YouTube works. I don't care. I'm having fun making the videos. I'm learning a lot, and I'm hopefully educating other people, educating myself, and entertaining people along the way. So as always, thanks for watching these. Again, put a comment below if you got another poll question you want me to throw out there. Just keep it clean. And yes, sometimes I do block comments. I don't know why people think it's like terrible. I block comments. If you're an asshole and you say something that has no foundation and it's off topic or it's accusatory, I'm just going to block you. That's not what the hobby's for. There's not a place for an open forum for people to come on here and call people names or call me names and shit like that. I'm just going to delete it, dude. I don't know what else to say about that. And somebody was like, you're just going to remove comments that are rude. Yeah, I'm just going to remove comments that are rude. If you've got a point to make and you substantiate your point and we're talking about the topic that we're talking about, 100%. I want disagreement. I want open conversation. I want a town hall meeting. But nobody is going to get loose with me and call me names or call people on the channel names or other commenters names and crap like that. I'm just taking it off the channel. The hobby is a release. The hobby is an escape. I get enough of that, that combative stuff in the real world, and I'm done with it. And so, no, not on this channel. So, yes, I will absolutely delete comments, not because I disagree with what they say, but the way that they are said. So thank you guys for watching. As always, keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby. Peace.